Are we together? There will be a candid discussion on the opportunity and opportunity costs that we need to do. I have had a discussion with the economic players in this industry. Either in the process of privatization, we must find a way of making sure that the cost of production of our 1 ton of sugar, the world average is 250 shillings per ton. We are doing 800 US dollars per ton. So we need to have a candid discussion. And it is the duty of all of us to see what improvements can we make, what investments can we make. Is it the condition of the factories? Is it the variety of the sugarcane we are growing? Because our research went down when we got rid of the various sector the sugarcane facility that was in charge of research and the rest of it. So we need to have a candid discussion. Otherwise, we are letting down our farmers. Too many people are working too hard and earning very little. We are actually wasting their effort. We have to candidly address ourselves to that. I think the issues that have been said about the shifting of the headquarters to Kisumu, that's positive, but that's not the solution. We really need to think deeply and critically on what needs to be done. And some very candid discussion and courageous decisions have to be made.
Processed. We are supposed to eat 16% to 21 kilos of fish every year. But currently, when I deal with the President, Dr. William Ruto, be informed that we are eating less than 5 kilos. And some of us eat less than 3 kilos. You can see the deficit.
And we will shortly be speaking to you with our economic team so that we can get some details on the proposal that you're making as people from this region. The other subject that was aptly put across
processed. We are supposed to eat 16% to 21 kilos of fish every year. But currently, when I deal with the President, Dr. William Ruto, be informed that we are eating less than 5 kilos. And some of us eat less than 3 kilos. You can see the deficit. We have imports from the neighboring countries as far as Asia. We have the potential to bridge that gap. I kindly request you.
create the infrastructure for whether it is
processed. We are supposed to eat 16% to 21 kilos of fish every year. But currently, Deputy President Dr. William Ruto, be informed that we are eating less than 5 kilos. And some of us eat less than 3 kilos. You can see the deficit. We have imports from the neighboring countries as far as Asia. We have the potential to bridge that gap. I kindly request you, on behalf of this nation, on behalf of the community, if this can be tackled, it should be a plus. There is need to customize bottom-up approach in relation to how it affects the local people along the lake. If that is part of it, as part of the team, I'll be very much ready to champion that. Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice. Beatrice Amondi, you. And as Beatrice comes, can we have the guy of sports move close here? The person who spoke on behalf of sports, down here. Move close here. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Just synthesize, 2 to 3 minutes, synthesize your issues.
Our Deputy President, our present MPs, every distinguished guest, all of us here, thank you so much for this opportunity. So I'm going to quote this. Youth unemployment, youth empowerment is something that we have to discuss. End of quote. These are not my words. These have been your words through every session that you've been to. And you are a man who stood by these words, regardless of the congregation, without fear of intimidation. It is something that you've spoken about throughout. So much has been spoken about here. I'm not going to repeat it. We need the change. We want the change. I'm going to stand here and speak on behalf of the youth. As a youth, we do not really have the luxury to sit back and wait for others to make.
So, and I agree with the boda industry that the credit facilities they are getting are punitive. You know, a boda that is being sold, as he said, for 145,000. If you buy it on credit, within a year, you end up paying almost 300,000, also almost double what you are meant to pay. That is what I am speaking to when I talk about bottom-up. These are the enterprises that require alternative sources of financing. They need to get alternative sources of credit. It is the same thing Mary Acheng was saying, that they have no way of borrowing money. Huyu Masai ni nani there's a Masai guy. Kuna Masai hapo, sijui, anakopesha watu pesa. And I'm sure that Masai guy is a Shylock. So, and you know, a Shylock, when he lends you money, you pay between 5 and 10% per day. And there is no business. It doesn't matter what business you're doing. And that's the thing I've been speaking to, that we have predatory lenders. Lenders who are destroying enterprises, because anybody charging 5% or 10%, or even the Fuliza that is charging 6% per day, those are predatory lenders. You can never do any business as long as you have those kind of lenders. And that is what is destroying the whole micro and small enterprise industry. And of course, the challenges of lending and that kind of thing. My good friend Ayim has spoken very well about how we can privatize extension services. I quite agree that if we have a problem with measuring, what government is doing in terms of industry, in terms of extension service, we can privatize and we can pay the professionals on the basis of how many farmers they have served and the output they have made by serving those farmers. So I quite agree that we need to have a discussion between the county, the national government, so that we can come up with the right policy that will streamline and give us the best way of how to deal with it. Caroline Odera talked to us about the huge potential we have in the lake here. People should not be going from Kisumu to Mombasa. We should actually develop the lake infrastructure for tourism, including to have a proper beach here, proper hotel services, and a better use of the lake as a tourist facility than we currently are doing. And I agree with you that there is a lot of potential in that space. And I agree also with her that investment must not necessarily be from foreigners. We can get the local people and arrange finance for them to invest in improving the facilities around here. There is the whole problem of demolitions, which is an evil thing. That government wakes up one morning and brings down people's businesses. I mean, it can never be right that a whole industry is brought down without people being given some alternative. I mean, it's the duty of government. If you are in a certain facility, they should be able to provide resources for you to relocate to another place. Not that to wake up one morning and come and bring down your business. You have children, you have workers whom you pay. It cannot just be one morning they are jobless, you are destitute, and it is supposed to be okay. It is not okay, right? It is not okay, And we have said that there must be law on how to relocate people going into the future. It must be structured in law. It cannot be the person who can hire the policeman is the person who will demolish your dwelling. There must be law. Finally, we have had a discussion on Mr. Felix Minda of Kenyan National Chamber of Commerce has talked about the tax regime. It is true, we have a problem with the taxes in Kenya. And it is we have even a bigger problem in the way we treat our taxpayers. It is not right that a taxpayer, you send a contingent of police to go and harass a taxpayer. It is not right. In fact, I saw one judge, I don't know whether anybody saw here, one judge about 2 weeks ago or a week ago said KRA must not kill taxpayers, because if they engage in killing taxpayers, they themselves will die, because they will kill everybody, and then finally there will be no tax paid. So the strategy, though, on how to make tax and the tax regime non-punitive is to engage in an exercise that expands the number of taxpayers. The problem with our current tax regime is that there are too few people who are paying tax. The majority are not paying tax, and it is not their fault. It's because either they are not working, they have no business, so they cannot pay nothing. And it is our duty to get as many people as possible working and as many people as possible doing business by making sure that they have a place to do business, by making sure that there is the correct plan on what to do, and lastly, by making sure that there is credit for them to grow their businesses so that we can grow more taxpayers and then be able to lower taxes. I see my competitors, they are talking about lowering taxes without thinking of how to grow the tax base. You cannot lower taxes because there is no free lunch. You have to, if you are lowering taxes, somebody else must pay it. So we must first expand the tax base, get more people to pay tax so that the few who are paying high taxes, we can reduce the taxes. I just thought I should respond to the issues that you have raised here. Okebe, the good farmer, Mr. Sylvester, has spoken to our hearts. He says the brokers went away with their ochele, and they have never been seen. That's what he said, right? And the pests and birds ate the balance. So, and they are still using oxen, you know. I know for sure that we have a 2 billion facility for mechanization, which we can tap into. It is delayed because of useless bureaucracy in government. And I want to tell Okebe that we have a deficit of close to 600 metric tons of rice we import. Surely we can grow that rice locally. The same way Mary Ochieng said, we are importing potatoes and tomatoes from Uganda. We are importing, I don't know, something else from Tanzania, when we can grow it. Actually, if you look at the total import of food items to Kenya, is actually 180 billion Kenya shillings every year. That 180 billion shilling gap is actually a market our farmers can grow into. We should be able to facilitate our farmers to grow that 180 billion worth of food that we are currently importing. And I want to say that the region that has the highest potential, I want you to listen to me, the region that has the highest potential of growing what we are importing at the moment is Western and Nyanza. That is the region that has the highest potential of importing the oil crops, the chile, sugar, that whole space. This region can actually be the region that can grow for us what we can use to close the gap of imports of close to 180 billion Kenya shillings. Finally, John Ochieng, my good friend, speaking on behalf of people who are able differently, has spoken very well about inclusion, and I agree with him that inclusion is a serious challenge. We must continuously assess our performance when it comes to including people with disability in the whole space of taking the country forward. This morning, for example, we made a decision that all the people who are running for whatever office in UDA, any person with disability running in UDA will run for free. There will be no nomination fees. I'm sure we will be pushing the bounds. We will be pushing the boundaries to make sure that people with disability they are included in the management of our country so that we can sponsor you. I have been told it's going to cost around 150,000. I will ask Mwasera there to arrange 150,000 so that we give it to Mr. Ochieng. He can go and attend the conference and give us some feedback, right? So, I think I just thought I should respond to those issues before I finally make my final statement. And my final statement is as follows. I have told you that governance and politics and management of the country is too important to be left to politicians alone. Every patriotic citizen must step forward, to participate, because it is our country and whatever happens affects all of us. Are we together? I have 3 things that I want to speak to you about. I want to first speak to this bottom-up economic model. I know many people are, my competitors especially, they are struggling with this bottom-up thing because they are not used to us having an economic discussion. But we have forced them. The people of Kenya have forced the politicians to engage on matters economy. It is no longer enough to have a discussion about which position and which place and the usual theatrics of politics. Politicians today and my competitors today have been forced, each one of them, to have a discussion on the economy. And I am a very proud Kenyan that we are having a conversation about the economy of our nation. One of my competitors is talking about uchumi maradufu. That's very good. Another competitor of mine is talking about giving people some handouts. That's very good. Another competitor of mine is speaking about some other story. So long as we are discussing the economy, let us continue with the discussion. Tuendelee. Si namna hiyo? Tunaelewana? So, what is bottom up? I want you to listen to me very carefully because we are having a discussion of our lifetime. When we took over with President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2013, I want to give you a bit of background. We decided that we are going to build politics on a different platform, and we are going to have a new foundation. And the foundation was non-ethnic, non-regional. We must avoid hate, ethnicity, and division. Right? So in our first term, we decided that we are going to do the railway. We're happy to say that today we have raised the number of households connected to electricity from 2 million to 8.5 million today. And particularly in Kisumu, the number of people connected to electricity in 2013 was 42,000. 42,000 people connected to electricity in 2013. Today, we have 242,000 people connected to electricity in Kisumu. Are we together? Yes. Hii Kisumu hii. 2014, 2013, watu walikuwa na stima, walikuwa watu 42,000. Leo tumefikisha watu 2,200 na 42 connected to electricity. We have connected 200,000 more people to electricity in Kisumu than were collected in 50 years. Are we together? The facts are very stubborn. They never lie, right? So you can go check the statistics. Number 3, we decided also that we were going to expand and re-engineer education. That's why you have 100% transition. You have the free secondary, which has challenges, but we are streamlining it. And we also said we must move our education more to Tibet. Today, when we took over, we had 2 technical colleges in Kisumu. Today we have 5. We have built one in Nyakach, we have built one in Nyando, and we have built one in one of the other constituencies, Seme, here in Seme. We have built 3 new technical training colleges in this Kisumu. We had Riyadh and we had Kisumu National Polytechnic. Those were the 2 that were there. And we have built 180 new technical training colleges in the whole country because we want to re-engineer education. Are we together? So, in our second term, we had decided that we have laid the foundation and we now need to grow enterprise, create jobs, and expand farming. That's why we came up with the Big 4 plan. The Big 4 plan had 3 major issues. Number 1 was to create jobs using our housing, value addition, agro-processing, manufacturing plan. Expand and invest in farming on our food security pillar, and also deal with matters of health on our universal health coverage pillar. As you all know, that plan has not gone as well as we wanted because we got busy. Tulipata kazi mingi ya BBI na rege na nini, sasa hapo ikaendelea. So, no, that's the truth. So tulipata wakati tulikuwa wengi, unajua tulikuwa na marafiki sasa walikuwa wengi. Wakakuja wakasema hii priority ya mambo ya kazi ngoja ingoje, hii priority nyingine ya mambo ya kilimo wacha ingoje, hii priority nyingine ya universal health coverage wacha ingoje, wacha kwanza tutengeneze katiba. So tukaenda kutengeneza katiba. And I want to tell you, standing here, that BBI thing was the most fair ever carried out again in the name of changing the constitution. Ukora. No, I'm telling you the truth. Yani ukora ile ya mwisho. You know, unajua Kenya hii ni mzuri tuambiane ukweli. Lazima tuambiane ukweli. Hii kitu ya BBI ilikuwa ni ukora mtupu. Because while the public wanaambiwa unajua tunapitisha BBI ndio tuongeze pesa ya kwenda kwa county. Surely you don't need to change the constitution to get more money to go to the counties. The constitution says not less than 15,000. What? Not less than 15%. What other English do you need? If it says not less than 15%, it means you can do even 100% of the money to go to the country. Why do you have to bother the country to change the constitution? It's a lot of nonsense. Ama namna gani, my friends? Haya. You know? Isijui help loans. It will help loans. You don't need to change the law. You don't need to change the constitution. You don't need to change the regulation. With a simple letter, barua tu na signature hapo chini. Help loan can be changed to a grant. You don't have to change the constitution. So anybody telling you that we change the constitution so that help can become a grant is a con man. You know, ni ukora. You know, ni ukora. You know, it's good to be tuambiane ukweli. Hiyo ni utapeli. Mbona hatutaki kusema ukweli? The real issue with BBI, which nobody wants to tell the country, and even the people who are proposers of this BBI, they are ashamed of it. They wanted to change the constitution to install an imperial presidency. Listen to me. They wanted to install an imperial presidency. And then you ask yourself, so why did we fight Moi all the years? Why did we fight the old constitution that had an imperial president? Why? Because, let me ask you, if you say you want to give the president power to appoint members of parliament as ministers, right? You want to give the president power to appoint an ombudsman to go and supervise the judiciary. What have you said? You have said the president now has power over the executive. The president has power over the legislature because he can manipulate the legislature using the ministers and he can appoint 50, 100 of them. And the president has power over the judiciary because he can use the ombudsman to manage the judiciary and whatever decisions they want to make. See, we have installed an imperial president. Did any Kenyan here say tuongeze powers ya president? Mnanielewa? So this is fraud. And none of these people are telling us. That's why when I tried to tell them in Bomas, wakanipigia makelele. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Tuko pamoja? Yes. This is it. Why don't we want to tell each other the truth? Hii deceit ya siasa ya Kenya. For how long are we going to have this thing? Mbona tusiambiane ukweli? Tunaelewana? So, and the even more dangerous thing in BBI was being changed against the constitution, unconstitutionally. The moment you allow changing the constitution unconstitutionally, you have licensed impunity in Kenya. It means the next person with power, influence, and money can come and change the constitution the way they want. We cannot have a country like that. That is too dangerous for us as a nation. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Because ukisema kwa sababu kuna uwezo na pesa na walikuwa wanatuimbia hapa, oh, nobody can stop reggae. Oh, nobody can stop reggae. Reggae. Sasa reggae silikwama. No, apana. You know, let me tell you guys, we can disagree on anything, but we must tell each other the truth. Tunaelewana? So, hiyo sarakasi yote wasted 4 years of our time. 4 years were wasted in a useless engagement, a fraudulent exercise. You know, they need to omba msamaha. You know, this wasted our time, they wasted money on an exercise that was clearly fraudulent and did not have the interests of the people at heart. And that's why ilivunjika. Tunaelewana? So, we had planned under the Big Four agenda. Number one, to make sure that we deal with the most present challenge in Kenya. And the most present challenge in Kenya is unemployment. That is why we had housing, manufacturing, agro-processing, value addition in the Big Four. And that's what I am saying. God willing, next year, the first agenda, the first priority, the first budget, we will commit, as we had planned in the Big Four, we will commit the first 100 billion Kenya shillings in programs and projects that will create jobs for our young people. Tunaelewana? Tunaelewana? Na mtu asiwadanganye ati hii ni maneno. No, it is possible, right? So, and I dare say, anybody who tells us today that the priority is to change the constitution so that we can create the position of prime minister, deputy prime minister, assistant prime minister, vice prime minister, I don't know what. Na hiyo zingine. For leaders like myself, and yet millions of our own children we have taken to school, they have certificates, they have degrees, they have diplomas, are languishing. Many of them, they have gotten into drugs. Many of them have gotten into crime. Many of them are into depression. And then you want to tell me, in that circumstance, the priority is to create jobs for leaders. It is stupidity. Ujinga. No, honestly, ujinga. Unawezaje kusema ati priority in this scenario where we have 4 million young people, our children, we have taken them to school, we have paid their school fees, they have certificates, diplomas and degrees, and you want to tell me it is not a priority to sort out their issues, that it is a priority to go and change the constitution so that we can create positions for ourselves as leaders? That is stupidity. It cannot be anything else. Sijui kama tunaelewana, my friends. Na hii ujinga lazima tuondoe kwa Kenya. Hii ujinga hii lazima tuondoe kwa Kenya. Tunaelewana? We must get rid of this thing, my friends. But it's not possible. It's not possible how? Si tumejenga 10,000 kilometers of the road, tarmac. Si tumejenga reli 700 kilometers. Si tumeunganisha stima imefika watu milioni 8. What is so difficult about making sure that these young people have a job or are engaged meaningfully? And when I say have a job, I don't mean just have a pay slip. I mean everybody has an income. They are working somewhere and they are earning something, and they can stand for themselves, and they can fend for their families, and they can put food on the table for their families. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Tunaelewana? Number 2, na ndio tunasema bottom up. Bottom inaanza na hawa vijana hawa wenye hawana kazi yao. Tunaelewana? Why do we need so much security to do anything? Why do we need all this security? It's because these guys have nothing to do. We must get them something to do. It is not their fault. It is not their fault that they are jobless. It is because there is nowhere to work. It is our duty to create the space and the projects and the programs to engage them in work. Tunaelewana, my friends? And this thing has no tribe. The same way you have so many young people here is the same way you have so many people in Eldoret. It's the same way you have so many people in Kisumu, in Nairobi, in Nyeri, in Mombasa. It's everywhere. So nobody should tell you it is this community versus that community. It is not. Sawa sawa. Number 2, we must create the environment. And many of you have spoken to it. We must create the environment for us to do business. 80% of business is carried out in the micro, small, and medium enterprise. Hiyo micro, small, and medium enterprise ni mambo mingi, lakini micro ni hii mama mboga tu, huyu Mary Ochieng alikuwa anasema hapa. Hiyo ndio micro. 1, we must create the space for them to do business. If it is a market, it must be properly done. If it is so that we can create the environment, and we are talking about the environment in general. If it is a market for the traders, it will be equipment for the fishermen, it will be the cold rooms, it will be the meals for Mr. Okebe and his team. Make sure that they have correct storage, make sure they have the correct milling, so that we create an environment for them to thrive. Number two, we must have the law to protect everybody's business so that other people's businesses are not criminalized. And number three, which is most important, we must create the financial ecosystem for these people to access credit that is affordable. Leo, mnasikia Mama Achieng anasema, akienda kukopa pesa, inamshinda kulipa. Kwa sababu gani? Ule Masai analipisha 10% per day. Kama angepata mahali ya kukopa at 5% per year, she would do her business very well. Sawa sawa? Huyu mtu yangu ya bodaboda hapa anasema pikipiki yenye is supposed to go 145, he ends up paying 290 because of the credit facility he is getting. Tunaelewana? So we must make it possible. And this is what I am saying. I want you to listen to me carefully. I am saying the same way we have CDF. Si mnajua CDF? Mnaelewa CDF? Ile ya kujenga shule na kulipa mambo ya basari. Next year, apart from CDF, 150 million ya kujenga mashule na kulipa basari. Next year, tunaweka another 150 million kila constituency, kila mwaka ya kusupport hizi enterprises ya mama mboga na hawa watu wengine hawa wote. Local enterprises. Nyinyi mnanielewa? It is not free money, but it is credit that will assist these people access money at 2, 3, 4, 5% per year, which they can use to grow their businesses. Huyu mtu wa bodaboda, kama pikipiki ni 145,000, he must not pay more than 160, even if he is getting it on credit per year. Tunaelewana? So instead of us charging him all the way to 280, that 280 is almost 130,000 shillings that will be credited to his account. Nyinyi mnanielewa? So, and we need to make, mtu asiwadanganye. Unajua, hii story yote, watu kwa sababu hawataki kusema ukweli, wanakuja na Kiingereza mingi and make the problem look so difficult. These problems are very simple. We can sort them out simply. Mtu asiwaambia ati you need rocket science, nini. Hapana, we will sort them out. There are very simple issues that we need to do to sort out our country. Tunaelewana? And number three, we must invest in agriculture. Like Mzee Sylvester said there, we must put money in agriculture, we must put money in seeds, we must put money in a dam. He says the dam is, the floods are destroying, so we need just to contain that water. You are aware we did in Bunyala here, we invested 6 billion shillings to control the floods, and we are going to have another 10,000 acres of crop of rice if that project is complete. We should do the same here in Kisumu, make sure that we control the floods, do a proper dam. Hopefully we should be able to do the dam in Koru shortly so that we can control the floods and have more access to water that we can use for irrigation and to be able to double the productivity of our farmers. And it goes on for all the other sectors. We must remove the brokers. Huyo mzee amesema kitu mzuri sana. What we must do in agriculture is put money in supporting the farmers, seeds, fertilizer, water, extension service. as has been said here. We will increase their productivity. Where they are producing 1 ton, they can produce 3 tons, which means they earn more money. And when they produce 3 tons, where they are currently producing 1 ton, we should be able to take the food to the market at a cheaper price. We will begin the process of reducing the cost of living. Every opinion poll that is done in Kenya, problem number 1, every Kenyan is complaining, is the cost of living. Because 52% of everybody's earning is spent on food. If we can reduce it to 30%, we will have more money in everybody's pocket. Are we together? And that cannot happen unless we support the farmers. So this is the plan. Bottom up starts with creating jobs for these young people, supporting our mama mboga, boda, micro, small, medium enterprise people, supporting our farmers, making our savings culture. Those ones I don't want to explain now because we will continue this engagement. So, mimi nimekuja hapa kuuliza nyinyi watu wa Kisumu Dala. Tunaelewana? Nataka nyinyi tuelewane, tukubaliane na nyinyi. Mimi nataka niwaulize nyinyi. Nyinyi mnaniambia ati priority ni kubadilisha katiba? Ati tutengeneze sijui prime minister na assistant prime minister na deputy prime minister na vice prime minister? Hiyo ndio priority mnasema tufanye? Priority mimi ninasema priority ni agenda number 1. Hawa vijana, the millions of young people who today are all over the place with certificates, degrees and diplomas, that must be our first priority. Tunaelewana? First priority. And let nobody tell you that what William Ruto is saying is not practical. For your information, I am the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya as I speak to you. I am not a madman and I am not stupid. I know what I'm saying. Are we together? Mnataka kuniambia tumejenga reli, tumejenga hii barabara almost 10,000 kilometers, tumeunganisha stima watu 8,000,000, alafu hii kazi kidogo hii ya kutafutia hawa vijana kazi ndio itakuwa kazi ngumu kuliko ya kujenga reli? Hapana. No. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? And we have identified with professionals and technocrats nationally and internationally before we fashion the Big Four on the areas that we need to invest that will give us the jobs we are looking for. And it must be deliberate. You know, we cannot just say we are going to grow the economy, the jobs are going to come. No, we must be deliberate about which areas are we investing so that we can create the jobs. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I am asking you to vote for the plan. The plan is number 1, we must create the jobs and the opportunities for work for the millions of our young people as a priority. We must invest public resources in ensuring that every small enterprise has the resources, the environment for them to do their business, and the legal regime that protects their business as we provide the financial infrastructure for them to access credit that is not from predatory lenders. Bwana Philip, so tunakubaliana na mimi? Yes? Yeah. We must get rid of these predatory lenders because they are destroying our enterprises. Ni watu kupe, you know? Wananyonya damu ya watu. So we must get rid of them. So, and finally, we must do what is right. Lastly, good people, for us to achieve this, we must be united. We must work together. Unity is very important. Unity is very important. Today, as I speak to you here, the Hustlers Party called UDA, right? Sindio? The Hustlers Party called UDA, we have 155 members of parliament, right? Majority of us came from Jubilee, some of us came from ODM, others came from Ford Kenya, others came from Kanu. We are 155 members of parliament, right? And I'm standing before you, the people of this Kisumu and Nyanza, that I want us to form the next government together. Are we together? Na nimekuja mchana mapema ndio tukubaliane tuunde hii serikali pamoja. Sawa sawa? Mimi nataka niwafanyie hesabu kidogo. UDA iko na wabunge 155 as we talk. We are followed by ODM with 70 MPs. We are followed by ile chama ya Kalonzo inaitwa nini? Na wabunge 20. Na ile chama ingine 14 nda chini. Wewe kwa hesabu yako. Na haihitaji hesabu mingi, haihitaji calculator. Wewe kwa maoni yako, chama gani ndio itaunda serikali next year? Sijui kama tunaelewana. So, na mimi, I have no quarrel with anybody. Mimi nataka hawa tunashindana na wao. Wakuje watuambie na wawaeleze how kubadilisha katiba itasaidia hawa vijana. How? You know, hii Kenya, I don't know what you're going to do. Tuko na shida kubwa sana. Kwa sababu wale wangekuwa ndio viongozi wanakuwa conmen. You know, wanasema things that are not there, that are unrealistic, and everybody is following. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Mimi naomba nyinyi. That's why I have come here. I have come and I have said why I am having this engagement in an environment like this is, as reasonable people, I want us to agree on a plan. And on this plan, I have said we must have the input of the ordinary people so that this plan is owned from the bottom going up. And that's why we are having this engagement. Are we together? Hakuna mtu tumetukana hapa, hakuna mtu tumezungumza mambo yake. Tumeongea vile tunaweza kupeleka taifa letu mbele as reasonable Kenyans. Are we together? The input you have given here, the input mumechangia katika hiyo plan. And I know we are running short of time. The input you have put in that plan, I have these professionals here. They will put it into our plan. And I am prepared to sign a charter with the people of Kisumu on the priorities you want. So that next year, as you go to vote, you are voting knowing very well what your government will do beginning day one. Sitaki mupige kura without knowing what you are voting for. Ama namna gani? Na mimi nataka niwaambie tafadhali. Politics is about interests. It is not about your relative, your friend, or the person you love. It's about interest. Are we together? You vote for your interests. And that's why I am saying, tuwache siasa hii ya kelele mingi. Mtu anakuja ria namna hii. Alafu unapiga kura mwisho nothing doing. Hapana. No. That ria thing, sijui tibi must stop. You know? Hapana. Haiwezi kuwa namna hiyo. People must know hii tunapiga kura ni nini. Sijui kama tunaelewana watu wa Kisumu dala. Si tunapiga kura so that we vote intelligently. We know what we are voting for. We have a plan, and all the other candidates should come and tell you their plan. Mtu asikuje tu na kelele ama namna gani? Tumeelewana? Bas. Yes, iko swali. Swalisha. Kuna mtu hapo wako na swali. Angelo jana mako hapa. Hapo endelea tu, iko sawa.
Halo? Tumekubali kufuata wewe baba. Na hiyo ndio sababu sisi Wajaluo tuko hapa. Na wewe pia utuahidi Wajaluo mimi mkinipea mtu kama Ereja Sembocha. Mtu kama Walo amekupigania usiku mchana, kuna mvua kuna jua, utampea nini kwa niaba ya Wajaluo? Sisi UDA kwa sababu baba umejua sisi Wajaluo tulikuwa katika nyororo ya ODM. Na sasa tumeamua kukufuata kama kijana wetu Suja ambaye anataka kutoa pesa mahali kuingiza kwa mfuko wetu. Wewe pia bwana lazima tuambie Wajaluo, nimekuja hapa bwana, niko na kijana yenu Walo hapa, niko na nani hapa, nitampea kitu fulani. Na tena nauliza, nimesikia safari yako imekuja Kisumu, inaenda Homa Bay. Je, Siaya huko kwetu, sisi tumetoka Siaya, utakuja lini? Sasa sisi tuko hapa vijana na mzee komanda kutoka Siaya. Tulikuja kwa sababu ya wewe. Mimi ni candidate kule Uyoma North kwa party yako. Tuko na MP hapa pia ya Rarieda constituency. Tuko na MCA hapa pia ya Ukalego. Tumetoka huko kote baba kwa sababu ya wewe. Ukirudi Nairobi utufikirie. Asante sana.
Hii serikali, my good brother, your question is very good. Hii serikali tunaunda ni serikali ya Wakenya wote. Na we will agree, we will sit down and agree and form an inclusive government. The most important thing is the plan we have. And Owalo has been part of the development of that plan with many other professionals like Ojuang here, like Machuki here. They've been part of this development of this plan, and they will have a role to play in the implementation of that plan. Tunaelewana, my friend? Lakini ya muhimu, ya muhimu ni kwamba inatubidi tuungane na tushirikiane. Sawa sawa? Kwa hivyo nikisema Harambee tunasema UDA ama Harambee. Bado haijasikika. Harambee. Unajua wale watu tunashindana na wao wako na kiburi mingi, hawasikii sauti ya chini. Harambee. Sasa wamesikia. Harambee. 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 Nikisema UDA tunasema kazi ni kazi. UDA. 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 Erokamano. Asante sana. Na mimi nawapenda sana. Just relax. Mimi nataka niseme asante. Kesho tutakuwa hapa Kisumu Dala. Wale niko hapa na wabunge. Niko na mbunge anaitwa Oscar Sudi, pigeni makofi. Niko na mbunge anaitwa Maisori Kitayama. Niko na mbunge anaitwa Mheshimiwa Robi wa kutoka Kuria. Niko na huyu anaitwa Oyugi, ni mbunge nusu, hajafika bunge lakini anahangaika hapa katika mji huu wa Kisumu. Thank you very much. God bless you guys. Asante.
Processed. We are supposed to eat 16% to 21 kilos of fish every year. But currently, Deputy President Dr. William Ruto be informed that we are eating less than 5 kilos. And some of us eat less than 3 kilos. You can see the deficit. We have imports from the neighboring countries as far as Asia. We have the potential to bridge that gap. I kindly request you, on behalf of this nation, on behalf of the community, if this can be tackled, it should be a plus. There is need to customize bottom-up approach in relation to how it affects the local people along the lake. If that is part of it, as part of the team, I'll be very much ready to champion that. Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice Amondi Youth. And as Beatrice comes, can we have the guy of sports move closer? The person who spoke on behalf of sports, down here. Move closer. 2 minutes. Just synthesize, 2 to 3 minutes, synthesize your issues.
Our Deputy President, our President MPs, every distinguished guest, all of us here, thank you so much for this opportunity. So I'm going to quote this. Youth unemployment, youth empowerment is something that we have to discuss. End of quote. These are not my words. These have been your words through every session that you've been to. And you are a man who stood by these words, regardless of the congregation, without fear of intimidation. It is something that you've spoken about throughout. So much has been spoken about here. I'm not going to repeat it. We need the change. We want the change. I'm going to stand here and speak on behalf of the youth. As a youth, we do not really have the luxury to sit back and wait for others to make the change that we want for us. If we need the change, it has to begin from us. It doesn't matter what you're doing, no matter how small it is. If it's sitting behind your computer, using your smartphone, do it. If we need the change, it begins from you. Again, I'm going to say this, a man with a philosophy that every single one of us, regardless of who you are, rich or poor, we are all entitled to the same basic and human rights. This is you, our able president to be, Mr. William Ruto. So this is your philosophy again. So someone who includes us in everything that he's doing. As a youth, we are given a seat at the table to discuss our issues, to bring solutions to how we want things to be. Who has been providing that for us, if not him? Again, we are going to say, here, I'm born here, I'm raised here. We've been down economically, severally. And I want to tell us, we know the mind that we have. When someone is out here to empower you economically, I always tell my friends that economic empowerment is the route to independent mind and choices. When someone empowers you economically, you can stand up for yourself, make your own decision, do whatever you want to do. No one has been giving us to that. It has been given by word of mouth. Here we have him here, our president to be, who is ready and able to empower us economically. So as a youth and my fellow youths, I urge all of us to stand for the change that we want, and all shall be well. Thank you so much. My name is Beatrice Amondi. I represent the youth. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Justus Omondi, Youth and Sport again. Synthesize your issues.
Correct. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Chief Hustler, my friend Oscar Sudi, I'm so humbled to see you guys here at this particular Rawan time. Mine is just a humble duty, sir, to present to you the plight of sportsmen and women in this great county of Kisumu. Most of the time you celebrate soccer personnel in the great teams, Arsenal, Manchester, mention it all. But the greatest thing people do forget, Mr. President, 2022, is that these people came from the ground. Number one key thing. And the worry is, which future of sports are we going to have if we don't mentor these young ones today? In Kisumu County, we have several talents in soccer, in volleyball, in all rounds, but they are going through a lot of stops. Number one thing, even a field to train Mr. Deputy President is a problem. You go to, for example, Moi Stadium, for a match you pay 10,000. You've not paid referee, you've not paid other staffs. Where will you get that fund? With these hustlers youth here in Europe without snow, that's Kisumu City. Mr. Deputy President, we are kindly asking that the government that we are going to form next year would keenly look into these matters of sports in Kisumu County and possibly Nyanza as a whole. The big question is, how can these teams even get jerseys, the soccers, the materials they need to be in the field? We're not forgetting about, Mr. Deputy President, sir, that apart from soccer and this field works, we have people who can sing, people with nice voice like mine, who can sing.
Again, on the subject of diaspora remittance,
do they get mentored?
That
our leaders are there, but all
collecting
they can do, come ask for votes,
close to 400
they go to whichever position they want to go to.
from
We never see them back.
diaspora.
And I'm saying this
we
from the
need to
depth of
channel
my heart,
those
sir,
resources.
because youth in Kisumu,
I have, on the 3rd
what
of
do I
December,
mean? I don't know what to do,
hosting
sir.
a
That's why
diaspora
one day,
conference.
for example, you come to
People
Kisumu,
from the US,
you hear a lot of
Europe,
voices.
Asia,
And when
to
something
have
has
a
happened
candid
in Kisumu, I have to
discussion
address this
on
because I have to
this
defend my
subject
youths.
of
They keep
diaspora
on saying,
remittances,
oh,
because
vijana
they
ndio
are
wamerusha mawe. Si
concerned
vijana mheshimiwa, ni viongozi walirusha
about
mawe.
how they can
How did they do that? They paid.
the development of
After paying, we don't see their children on the limelight.
Jacob
At the end of the
Okambo,
day, so the
Chairman,
news
and
headline,
Bernard Saiji,
youth in Kisumu storm such a particular
about
meeting.
the
It's
whole
not our business if you get a business to do.
They've asked me whether I have
Please
come
grant us
with
that
some
business.
elsewhere, whether I have come
I'm
with
planning
some
for Kisumu Talent Extravaganza, sir. It is going to cost around 1,500 and 2,000 euros.
Bernard and
across
Jacob
Nyanza.
that
My theme
I have
is
come.
Dumisha Amani and Kabisa Madawaza. And I said here in the morning,
Maybe I may
looking
not
for
do
even a hall
everything
to
that you want me
host
to do,
my
but I am
function.
here. I
There
am
is
here.
no hall. Why?
So,
It is torn by
and,
labor body. Too expensive
I
for a
agree
hustler
with
like myself.
the
Sir.
border border industry
I
that
can't afford to host my function.
they
Bring partners
the
on board so that
facilities
they can mentor these
they are
young brains in
getting.
Kisumu so that tujue Kisumu sio tauni ya mawe bana. Hii ni Europe. Hata kama bado
a
hatuna
border border that is
Sir, Europe.
being sold,
We have
as we say,
reused our
165,000.
stones and we've turned them into
buy
cartons
those
and
credits
Kisumu is clean. We no longer throw stones, my friend.
Almost
So the only thing we are requesting,
what you
can we get supported so that even
That
if we
is
have
what
singers, watu wanafanya drama,
I
they
am
can be
speaking to
supported,
when I talk about
they nurture their
these
talent,
are
they
the
go
enterprises
far much beyond
that
churches,
require
far much beyond
sources
Jalano.
of financing.
I would
need to
want
get
one day to
alternative
do my
sources.
function in such as this tent, sir.
It is the same thing.
But it's not possible. I
Mary
would want to
Atieno
support youth in
states
Kisumu, but not
that,
possible, sir.
They have
Secondly,
no way of borrowing
youth
money.
in Kisumu are
Huyu
innovators.
Masai ni nani
And when
there's a
people
Masai
say
guy.
we need job, sir, we create.
Kuna-
Here we don't look for job.
Masai hapo sijui
Myself, I'm a journalist. of
pesha watu
profession.
pesa.
When Corona came, most of us lost
And
our jobs.
I'm sure that Masai guy
I
is a
say,
Shylock.
with the knowledge I have with my friend,
So,
trying
and
to
you
sit
know,
down
a
and
Shylock,
present.
when
I
he
started
lends
my
you money,
own online
pay
the television
between
network.
5 and 10%
It's called
per day.
Berumba. Berumba simply means Benga Rumba.
And there is no
Mr. Deputy
business. It
President, if you
doesn't
think I'm
matter
lying,
what
here is
business
my
you're doing.
labor I worked with.
That's the
and I told people here in the morning, they were
happening
laughing at me.
that we
And
have
by the way, before I
predatory
forget, I
lenders,
reached my friends,
lenders who are destroying enterprises.
and I reached few of them, and I said,
Anybody charging
can Hustler come to the Hustler station and even have a 30-minute
or
interview?
even the Fuliza that is charging 3% per day, those are predatory lenders. You can never do any business as long as you have those kinds of lenders. And that is what is destroying
we are innovators.
whole micro
that is really what we
and
want
small
you to
enterprise.
Be innovators. Usiende kubeg kwa mlango ya mtu kuomba kazi. Tengeneza kazi.
And of course, the challenges of lending
and last but not least, sir,
and that kind of thing. My good friend Ayim has spoken very well about how we can privatize extension services. I quite agree that
kama tunataka tuache hii maneno ya kukimbia nyuma ya watu kila saa kukimbia na mawe, let's engage the youth people,
what government
the young
is doing
people
in terms of
agribusiness we can do. I do hear, sir, that you do a lot
industry.
of Who told you I can't do that? I can, definitely.
So we can privatize and we can
Mimi
pay
pengine mimi ni yule hustler kuliko.
the professionals.
So we would really need even youth groups in Kisumu to start such projects.
How many farmers they have
projects. Thank you,
served,
Mr.
and the output they have made
Such projects,
by
so
serving
that we
those
can
farmers.
have
So I
money
quite
in
agree
their
that we need to
pocket,
have a discussion
Christ
between
Jesus
the
in their
county,
heart,
the national government, so that we can come up
we
with
go
the
to
right
heaven, all of
policy
us. Before I do this,
that will give us the best way of how to deal with it.
boxers,
Caroline Odera talked to us
they are there,
about
so many of
the
them.
huge potential
But
we
who
have in the
listens to them?
here. People should not be
In my online television
going from Kisumu
network,
to
I
Mombasa.
post
We should
them
actually
each and
develop
every
the
Sunday
lake
with the plight of
infrastructure
at least
for
giving them a
tourism,
platform, so that somebody somewhere
including to have a proper beach here,
and live there. Sir,
proper hotel
with you, you're not going to lose.
services,
Na mimi
and
nakujua.
a better use
Kuna
of
mali ulitoka,
the lake
na kuna
as
mali
a
ulifika.
tourist
Tafadhali,
facility
mkono ya watu.
than we
Awali
currently
kutoka wapi?
are doing.
Ndio kutoka kwa dai. Ni kutoka kwa mimi. Thank you, sir. I was just trying to tell them that
also
2022 they vote you. Thank you.
Investment must not necessarily be from foreigners.
And then as he comes, Bernard Saidi, Bodaboda, come close here.
And
Try to summarize your
arrange
issues,
finance
2-3
for them
minutes.
to
You should be
invest
done.
Hello everyone, how are you doing?
the facilities.
My name is Philip Odino. I am
There is
a
the
co-founder
whole
at
problem
Freedom
of
Capital.
demolitions.
And Mr. DP, I'm honored to
Which
be
is an
here
evil, you
to
know, that
express
government
what my
is
people
at
really
one
want
morning
from you today.
and brings down
Philip
people's
Odino,
businesses.
ODINO.
I mean,
I like that you're taking notes
can
for
never
a
be
leader,
right.
and I appreciate that. Clap for him.
That the
So,
whole industry is brought down.
For the longest time,
Without people being
we wanted an
some
alternative
alternative.
voice.
I mean, it's the duty of
We are
government.
hungry
If
for growth and
you are
development.
in a
Everybody
certain
here wants to better their lives.
they should be able
Everybody here wants to move ahead. And I'm very lucky that I'm
resources
here
for
with
you
some of
to
my
relocate
mentors,
to
Mr.
another place.
Machuki.
Not
Thank
that
you
you
very
wake up
much.
one morning
We
and come
worked
and
with
bring
him for
down
close
your
to
business.
6
You
years in
have
the region.
children,
And my farm,
you have
in collaboration with
workers
my co-founder,
whom you pay.
Carol Taniwe, she's a
cannot
lady,
just be
so
one
in our
morning
farm we
you are
are
jobless,
balanced.
you are destitute,
So we
and it is
support
supposed to be
SMEs
okay. It
grow
is not okay.
by connecting them to
Right?
knowledge
It is not
capital, financial capital, and
And
social.
we have said
So in terms of knowledge capital, we do
there must
training
be law
opportunities with
on
our
how
guys
to
like
relocate
GIZ,
going
UNICEF, the UN, UN Habitat.
must be
We've done that for
structured
now
in law.
6 years.
It cannot
so
be
far
the
we've trained
person who
close to
can hire the
3,500
is the person
SMEs in the
who
region, all
demolish
the way from Bomet,
your
Trans-Nzoia,
your
to
dwelling.
Migori. So when I hear you
must
talk
be
about the gig economy, the hustler
Finally,
economy, it resonates very closely to my heart. Because initially I
have
used to
had a
work in the aid
discussion
industry,
on,
and aid does
Mr.
not grow
Felix
any economy.
Minda of
If you were to
Kenya
grow,
National
then Nyanza would have been the richest county
talked
in
about,
the region,
the
because you get a lot of
taxation.
NGO donor funding.
It is true.
But now that I like that,
we have a
there's one
problem with
aspirant
taxes in Kenya.
who is you, sir, who understands
And
that
this is we have a
business
bigger
and
problem.
economic development
In
is
the
the
way
only
we
backbone that can make people stand for themselves,
we
for
treat
their
our
rights,
taxpayers.
and also better their future. Thank you very much for that, sir.
It is not
So
right.
in terms of social capital, my farm has
taxpayer,
been having an annual entrepreneurs
You
forum
send a contingent
called
of
the
police
Lake Investment and Innovation
go
Week.
and
This year we're
harass
having
a
it next
taxpayer.
year.
It is not
And
right.
we've done it for now 4
In fact,
years.
I
And in
saw
those 4
one
years, per
judge.
time we get
I don't know whether
3,000
anybody
to
saw it.
4,000 delegates.
One judge
attend,
about
both physically
2 weeks
and
ago or a
virtually.
week ago
So during COVID,
say,
we innovated, as my
KRA,
friend said. We use
must
all our
not
online platforms,
kill
from Facebook, Twitter,
taxpayers.
YouTube,
Because if
etc.,
they engage in
Skype,
killing
Zoom,
taxpayers, they
and we
themselves
had
will
delegates
die.
from all over the world
Because
attending,
they will
hungry
kill
to listen
everybody,
to what
and then
opportunities are
finally there will
there in
be
this region.
there
We
will
don't
be no
tell our story
taxpayers.
as often as we should. Okay?
So,
like now we've heard about the lake,
the
we've heard
strategy,
about these people in
though,
sports, we've heard about people
on
in
how to make
agribusiness. But who
tax
tells this story out?
and the tax regime
So if we have a leader who
non-punitive
understands what we are going to do,
is
who
to
wants to take us where we want to go with
engage
him, then
in
you're the
an
best bet for
exercise
us.
that
In terms of
expands the
financial
number
capital,
of taxpayers.
we are hungry for
The problem with
alternative
our
financing
current
models.
tax regime
With the
is
change
that
of
there are
business
too few
models now, we have young people coming into the
who are
economic
paying tax.
spaces.
The
And we don't have
majority
offices.
are not paying
Most
tax,
of us don't have
and it is
staff
not their
members
fault.
on permanent
It's
payroll.
because
Some of
either
us
they
don't
are
have
not-
enough
they're
social
working,
capital to get money.
they have
We
no
don't even
business,
have a collateral
so they cannot pay
in terms
nothing.
of land, etc.
And it
But
is
we need
our
banks
duty
and
to
financial
get as
institutions
many
to
people
understand
as
that
possible
our business
working,
models are different.
and as many people
And
as
them being
possible
different, we
doing
need
business
alternative financing
by
models.
making sure
So with you as our
that
leader,
they
sir,
have a
we'll
place
be
to
able
do business,
champion the
by
financial
making sure that
institutions,
there
to
is
draft
the correct
policies in
plan
conjunction with
on
us
what
and
to
the
do,
government
and
in
lastly,
general, to come
by
up with
making
ways
sure
that we
that
can
there is
unlock
credit
financing.
for them
Because once finances are
to grow
unlocked,
their
some of the stories we
businesses
hear
so
and
that we
hear
can
that help us do
grow
this,
more
you know, the
taxpayers,
story. We'll be
and
here to
then
report success.
be
True or
able to
false?
lower taxes.
The
I
last
see my
part
competitors,
which I
they
want
are
you to
talking
help us do is to tap
lowering
into
taxes
diaspora
without
remittances.
thinking of
There's a lot of money that
how
comes
to
from the
grow
diaspora
the
world,
tax base. You
and we
cannot
don't see
lower
where that money
taxes
goes to.
because
I will
there
urge
is
you
no
as our
free lunch.
president, next
You
upcoming
have to,
president,
if you are
ensure
lowering
that this
taxes,
money trickles
somebody
down
else must pay.
to the household level in
So we
terms
must
of
first expand
SME support,
the tax
in
base,
terms of
get more people to pay
infrastructure
tax,
projects that
so
people
that
can
the
relate
few
to,
who are paying high
etc.
taxes,
So
we can reduce.
I'm glad that I had this chance. I'm sure I'll
I
meet
just
you
thought
later
I
and
should
maybe talk to you
respond
over a glass
to,
of water or a cup of tea, sir.
the issues that you
I was
have
very
raised
careful, I
here.
noticed.
Okay, the good farmer.
Yes, so I look forward to meeting you later. And
Mr.
karibu
Sylvester.
Kisumu. Don't worry what
Spoken to our heart.
If I'm able to come, I'm there. Thank you.
With their
Boda
hoteli,
boda, Bernard Saidi.
and they have never been
Na
seen.
kipanda mama mboga Mount Achieng
That's
kuja
what
hapa
you
mbele
think, right?
tafadhali.
Thank you very
Mama
much.
mboga kuja hapa
And
mbele.
the pests and bugs ate the balance.
Deputy President,
So, and they are still using
honorable
oxygen.
members,
I know for
distinguished
sure
guests,
that we have a
ladies and
facility
gentlemen,
for
good afternoon.
mechanization, which
Good afternoon.
we can tap into. Delay
Mungu ni mwema.
useless
Mungu ni mwema.
government. And I want to tell Okebe,
Just 1 minute. There are some people making noise there. We want to have one meeting. Please allow us to concentrate on the meeting.
close to 600 metric
Yes.
tons of
Thank you. Mr. Deputy President,
rice we import.
I was told by the Boda
We
Boda
can grow
guys
that rice.
in the morning, we had a meeting with them concerning
we are importing potatoes
this meeting.
and tomatoes from
But they told me
Uganda.
to ask
We are
you
exporting
about the motorbike
Tanzania.
promise. They have
When
been
we can
seeing
say,
you
actually,
giving out
if you look
motorbike
at
somewhere.
the total
But here in Kisumu,
of food
we
items
also want
to
you
Kenya
to extend the
is
same
actually
courtesy to us.
180 billion Kenya shillings every year. That 180
Mr.
billion
Deputy President,
shilling gap
we as Boda Boda, we have
is
several
actually a market our
challenges
farmers can
facing
grow
us.
into. We should be able to
let me-
facilitate
to
our
begin
farmers
with,
to grow that
I
180
will
billion
begin
worth
with
of
the
food
NHIF.
that we are
Most
currently
of our Boda guys cannot afford the current NHIF rates.
And I
I
want to
think
say that the
Due
region
to that,
that has
hiyo moyo
the
yako,
highest
you
potential,
can help
I want you
us
to
so
listen
that
to
at
me.
least some of us get the NHIF.
highest potential.
Kwa sababu hao watu
Growing
wetu saa zingine
what
wao
we are
wanakupanga
importing at the
because they lack
moment
money. Unapata
is
mtu ameenda
Western
hospitali and he cannot even offset the
That is
bill.
the region
So
that
the
has
guy
the
ended
highest
up
potential
dying.
of
And it's just
importing
that.
the
Another
oil
thing that we also discussed with them that I want to bring to your attention.
Chile,
Mr. Deputy President,
sugar,
Boda Boda,
that whole space,
these
this
motorbikes
region can actually
they are being
be the region
imported
that can grow for us.
at a cheaper price
we
outside
use
there. But the moment zimekuja hapa
Close the
Kenya,
gap of
zinakuwa
imports of close
expensive.
to
If I give an example,
billion Kenya shillings.
before this VAT,
Finally,
the recent VAT, box
John
150 Bajaj used to be 125,000, but currently the price has shot up to 145,000. Actually, that thing is hindering. Another thing that I want to bring to your attention, if you form the next government, which we know that we're going to form, we want you, our two in our loan now, they are too expensive. For example, if I give examples like mobile credit,
that all the people
giving
who are
out
running
motorbike
whatever
for
office,
Boxer 150,
UDA,
it is 145. But come kwa loan, you will end up paying almost 289,000.
will run
too expensive.
free. There will be no
Address our
regulation
challenges.
fees.
Another thing, border has not
I'm
been
sure we will be
recognized.
pushing the bounds.
Wakati saa zingine kama serikali inapeana kazi, job opportunities. Hao watu wengi, watu wetu hao, most of them, some of them are educated, but they need job, but that
We will continue
chance
to have that
ndio
discussion with
wanakosaga.
my good friend.
Mr. President, if you assign
I know
power,
you have asked me
guide
to
there, there's
have
our
a
issues.
sponsorship of
Another thing that I want also maybe to bring to your attention
disability in Tanzania.
is about
I have told my
Boda
office to
sheds.
organize so
some of us
that we can
operate from
sponsor
the
it.
sun.
I
So,
have been told
I was
it's
told,
going to cost
I address this one to you, that if you form the next government,
50,000.
kindly,
I
Mr.
will
President,
Masera there
build for us some
to
sheds.
150,000
Then,
so that we give
another
it to
thing.
Mr. Ochieng.
Here in Kisumu,
can
being that it is a region of
You can
politics,
go and attend the
we want you,
conference
Mr. President,
and give
to
us some
send power.
feedback.
Kindly help us to form a circle or
So,
something that can bring us together.
I think
so
I
that
just
some
thought I
money
should respond to
can be
those
found
issues
in
before
that
I
account.
finally
We channel it
make
to
my
our
final
people.
statement.
Then lastly,
And my final
actually, if you are,
statement is as follows.
if you are using a road,
I have
you
told you
bad
that
roads.
governance and politics and management of the country is too important to be left to politicians alone. Every patriotic citizen must step forward
Last week, is license
to participate
and insurance.
because
You can help us to get ready these
It is our
insurance
country.
companies that
and whatever happens
give a
affects
license
all
and
of us.
insurance at a lower
Are we
price.
together?
Then lastly, I would
I
like
have
maybe to inform
three
you,
things
Mr.
that I want
President,
to
that we
speak
have the
about.
chairman of Border.
I want
But
to
being that I was
first
given the chance
speak to this
to
bottom-up
address
economic model.
but
I
is
know
there.
many people
Mr. Jacob Ogamu, you
are,
can just stand
my
and wave
competitors especially,
and
are
say
struggling
something.
with this bottom-up
Hello, UDA.
because they are not used
I'm Jacob Ogambo,
to
bodaboda
us
chairman
having
Kisumu County.
an
DP,
economic discussion.
welcome Kisumu. Tumekukaribisha sana. Bodaboda power.
We have forced them.
I think umesikia sauti na utaisikia bado
people
na
of
utaisikia
Kenya
usiku na
have
utaisikia
forced
mchana. Karibu sana
the
Kisumu.
politicians
Tuletee hizi vitu our spokesman
engage
amesema.
on matters
Tunataka at least shades.
It is no
Tunataka job
longer
opportunities. Mingi
enough
tumesemwa. Bodaboda
to have a
ilitukaribisha
discussion
na
about
tukuganga ina wewe. UDA.
positions
Sivyo Jacob sasa. Thank you.
and the usual theatrics of
And when you come here, you can speak in a language which is easy for you.
politicians today
Kizungu,
and my
Swahili.
competitors today
Yeah.
have been
So long as you communicate.
each one of them to have a discussion on the economy. And I am a very proud Kenyan that we are having a
2022
conversation
president,
about
I'm
the
Mary Achieng
economy.
from Kondele Market. Ladies always speak very few words. I just want to go straight to the point. Mr. William Ruto,
Uchumi Marat is very good.
what I can say, the tomato we are selling
About
is coming from Uganda.
some handouts.
Why should we sell tomatoes from Uganda and we have got plans to plant those tomatoes?
So long as we are discussing the economy, let
If
us
those
continue with the
tomatoes come,
discussion.
wenyewe
Endelee.
wanataka pesa.
Si namna hiyo?
Na kwa usemu kweli zingine zinakuja kama zimeharibika.
So, what is bottom up?
After that, wenyewe si watakuja. Wakishakuja wanataka pesa yao. It's when we are going to run to Masai. Masai tunaenda to help us, to lend us money. If you are not, you have got no money, Masai anakuliza, mama, unalipa na nini? Inabidi Masai kushwade siala. Anakushwade siala. Unalipa na mwili. Ili akukuoe, anakuliza tu questions. Anakuoa na watoto na bwana. Na mimi ndio naniona hivi sina bwana. Sasa nakwambia anakuoa na watoto. Namwambia na usineuke fanya vitu. niko na hii approach. Sina kitu ya kuingiza. Badala ya kugusa na kuingiza, naingiza Masai. I'm requesting our deputy president. Even tomorrow I know you will be at Kondele. If you can get a chance, you just walk penye wamama wanauza. Those women are really crying. And you are the one who will help them. They are hustlers like you. I'm pleading, I'm requesting. If you tomorrow you can get a chance, walk there at Kondele market. Nyanya zinaribika, mamboga zinaribika. Tupate wapi? Wewe ndio utatusaidia. Thank you.
Horticulture, about horticulture.
Thank you very much. I am Fred Ayim. I'm an unemployed graduate. I graduated in 2010. I've never been employed until today, but Mama Mboga has made work very easy. I'm here to present to you the problems of those who are struggling to plant the horticultural crops in this country.
Thank you very much. People to electricity in Kisumu that were connected in 50 years.
Okay, thank you very much. As you have been told, Bonadipi, I know you are a graduate of agriculture like me. And this work is now going to be very easy. As you have been told by Mama Mboga, we in this county are next importers of horticultural products. We import everything. Either from Tanzania we import onions, from Uganda just told you we import tomatoes, we even import cabbages and sukuma wiki from our neighboring county. But we have the potential to produce the same kind of horticultural products here within this country. What is our problem? Our problem has been addressed by your bottom-up economic model, access to credit for young people. I was telling some of us here that one problem that can never be solved by maybe your government will make a policy to ensure that young people access land when they are still energetic, because our parents tend to give us land when they die. You know? So if you can formulate a policy where when a young man attaining the age of 18 years can access land so that he can make it productive and produce horticultural crops. Because generally we eat mboga every day here, and when we import them and we maybe pay exorbitantly for them, our lives are going to be difficult. Secondly, there is the fluctuation in the prices of our produce. We will want you to negotiate for us if you can do contract farming with a few of the people that I know you know within the market, the horticultural market. Thirdly, we will want you to help us in you know, we have industries and companies that are formed by most of us here within this country, but they cannot operate due to the statutory requirements and the taxation that we are being taxed everywhere, left, right, and center. Somebody will be discouraged to run a processing plant. For example, you know very well that when you're in the market, most of the mboga they get shorter, tomatoes, you lose them there. But then we can process these things to paste. We can process them, we can begin the value chain. I know you know. Now, why can't we have a company there, which is run by us here, which can do the paste processing? And the problem, you know, is that whenever you start a company, these tax collectors will give you. They want so much tax from you. Just even the other day, they were taxing what of you know, they're killing us. And I know you will be our hustler. You will help us here.
So,
extension services. Extension services.
And I want to tell you,
somebody was joking around the other day within the country, telling us that they stopped employing, the government stopped employing extension officers in 1986.
Deceitful.
That is why people like me cannot get jobs.
Agenda ever.
But we have found out that me, I am a consultant
in the name of changing the constitution.
Those farms that I work for and others that are owned by these hustlers here can get the opportunity to provide these services on behalf of the government. If these services that cannot be provided by the government are advertised.
just make a policy
Tuambia,
and
tuseme.
help us get into and provide the services for the government.
Hii kitu ya BBI, hii
I
bitu ya
think
BBI.
we will have a long
Ilikuwa ni
talk,
forum tu.
but I want to thank you and stop there because of
Thank
time.
you, Carol Onero from
Why the
tourism,
wanaambiwa
and then the guy of Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Can you move closer? That will be the final one.
County.
Carol, summarize your tourism
You don't
issues.
need to
Chamber
change
of Commerce and Industry. Felix, where are you?
the county.
Welcome very
says
much,
not less than
Deputy President of
15,000.
Kenya.
What? Not less than
Welcome to
15%.
Kisumu and also
What other English do you need?
observed.
If
My name
it
is
says
Caroline Odinga.
not less than
I'm here to
15%,
about
it means you can do even 100%.